In today's exhilarating news, debt activists have made a monumental move, purchasing and canceling a whopping $10 million in student debt for just $125,000. Meanwhile, a medical breakthrough has cured a 5-year-old New Jersey boy of sickle cell anemia, and an NSW court has made a landmark decision allowing health officials to give a blood transfusion to a Jehovah's Witness toddler. In financial news, the IRS is set to test a free tax filing platform in 13 U.S. states. And in environmental news, we've hit a milestone with half the world now, 5 years past a peak in fossil fuel power generation. Let's dive into it. In a significant move, debt activists from the Debt Collective and the Rolling Jubilee Fund have purchased and canceled nearly $10 million in student debt from Morehouse College, a historically black men's liberal arts college in Atlanta. The debt, which was bought for a mere $125,000, was then completely written off, freeing 2,777 accounts from the financial burden. This action, one of the largest debt cancellations by these organizations, demonstrates the potential for federal government to provide similar relief. The cancellation will enable borrowers to access their transcripts and receive their diplomas without the stress of debt. The Debt Collective is now urging President Biden to fulfill his campaign promise of eliminating all student debt held by historically black colleges and universities graduates. According to a new analysis by energy think tank Ember, half of the world's economies have surpassed a peak in power generation from fossil fuels by at least 5 years. The study, which examined domestic electricity generation from 2000 to 2022, found that emissions from 107 economies, accounting for 38% of global electricity demand, have dropped nearly 20% in the last decade. 78 of these economies have replaced fossil fuels in their power sectors with clean energy since their post-2000 fossil fuel peak. The European Union, Oceania, and North America are leading the way, with fossil fuel generation dropping by 30%, 20%, and 15% respectively from their regional peaks. The analysis also shows that economies that are at least 1 year past a peak in fossil fuel power represent 50% of global demand, indicating a tipping point for fossil fuel power generation. The Internal Revenue Service is set to test a free electronic tax filing system in 13 states early next year, with an estimated hundreds of thousands of taxpayers participating. The states include Arizona, California, Massachusetts, New York, and 9 others without an income tax: Alaska, Florida, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. This initiative is part of the Inflation Reduction Act, which allocated $80 billion to the IRS to explore the feasibility of a free tax filing system. The IRS aims to gradually expand the program, ensuring it's easy to understand. Despite criticism from tax prep software company Intuit, the IRS maintains that this is another choice for taxpayers, as only 4% annually use the existing free file program. In a medical breakthrough, a 5-year-old New Jersey boy, Toby Okunsinda, has been cured of sickle cell anemia, a disease generally considered incurable. The cure came through a bone marrow transplant from Toby's younger brother, Kwasi. After enduring chemotherapy and other challenges, Toby was officially declared cured 1 year after the transplant. The procedure is most effective for patients under 16, and it's noted that 40% of sickle cell patients have available donors for transplant. Toby's family and the hospital are now raising funds to help other families impacted by sickle cell anemia access this curative therapy. In a landmark decision, a New South Wales court has granted health officials the authority to administer a blood transfusion to a Jehovah's Witness toddler, if necessary during surgery. The 3-year-old girl, referred to as J.I., suffers from serious medical conditions and requires 2 surgical procedures. Her parents, due to their religious beliefs, had not consented to her receiving blood or blood product transfusions. However, Justice Trish Henry ruled that the court could intervene in such circumstances, with the child's best interests and welfare being the overriding criterion. The medical team assured the court they would exhaust all alternative treatments and adopt a blood conservation strategy, but maintained that a transfusion might be clinically necessary to manage health risks, including death. That's it for this week's fill of inspiring news. Let me know in the comments which story you liked best. Also, if you enjoyed the content, please like the video and consider subscribing. See you next week!